Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer Show. This is a show where we talk about stuff, play you some music, and encourage you to be creative. This season, we are exploring the art of being human. We want to say thank you to our patrons who support us each month. If you want to know more about that, visit us on patreon.com/Chasing Ebenezer. For more information about our musical endeavors, visit chasingebenezer.com. We hope you enjoy the show.
That was like the lamest glass click.
It's hot, and if we
Ever.
break glass, that's bad. Anyway, hey, welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer Show.
Cheers.
We are in season 3, The Art of Being Human. My name is Benjamin, and this is Heidi. In case you missed last week's episode or any of the other ones, you can get caught up on those. We are just so grateful to be able to do this. You know, I love that we can sit down, we can talk about creativity, we can talk about these things that matter, and you watch us. Patrons, thank you that you make it possible for us to do this. We've got a really special announcement coming next episode, so patrons especially, keep watching, okay? Because we're going to let you know what that is, but it's something I am quite excited about. If you're not a patron and you want to be a part of that community, go to patreon.com, search Chasing Ebenezer, and pick your price.
$1?
$1.
We'll get you going.
The
Thank you.
$5 one gets you a demo once a month, and yeah, there's a lot of fun little perks there. So check that out. What are you excited about? That was the most mousy, squeaky laugh I've ever heard in my life. I love it.
I'm actually really looking forward to the holidays this year.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to like come up, okay, what are the things I want to make sure that I do that are just enjoyable, and then try to make sure that I've left those things in. And I mean, I'll still be working, but to kind of in advance be thinking about it. That way it's not this thing. And so, yeah, I saw my niece and nephew last night, and we've already been making some plans for Christmas fun. So I'm just really excited about that. And I've been listening to some awesome audiobooks. So I finished a couple and I'm listening to some. And so I'll get out of the habit of it. And then once I start listening or reading again, I'm like, this is essential to my growth as a person, is books and reading. So I just finished The Book Thief, and the narrator to that one was awesome.
Really good.
The narrator makes or breaks it.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you find, I mean, I know this a little bit about you, but
tell me.
Because we tend to read separately and we read individually, do you tend to be in multiple books at a time?
You know that I do.
You do? Well, no, I'm actually not always sure.
You're not always sure?
Well,
Wow.
I mean, I
I'm
guess
so mysterious to you.
I'd say maybe I do know that, but it's more of like, is that a regular practice for you?
Well,
is maybe
it's
what
not
I'm
that it's
asking.
intentional. Really. Well, here's what it is. In the car, or if I'm like doing housework, walking around, I always have an audiobook.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually fiction. Not always, but it's often fiction. And then I usually have a nonfiction book that I'm reading in like my morning quiet time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I usually am reading another fiction book. So
you're in 2 fiction books at once.
Usually, yeah. One audio and then one that I'm reading by hand. Because I think it's important to do both. Apparently, you're not supposed to read while you're driving, so I don't do that. I only audio book.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's dangerous to read while you're driving. So
Yeah, that gives me permission because I'm in so many books at one time, and I almost feel like that's like a guilt thing. It's like, oh, I'm so lazy, I should finish at least one of these. And you should work to finish a book, but yeah, I feel like I'm betraying like a commitment. Fiction is hard for me. And I've said this in like probably previous episodes. I have a hard time reading fiction. So if I switch over to another book, I feel like I'm doing something lazy.
Oh. I'm sorry you feel that way. Well, part of it too is wait, I just blanked. Oh, I've reached the point where I finally gave myself permission that if a book is not working for me, to not feel the pressure to finish it. I've just like, there are so many books in the world. You know, if by a couple chapters in, I'm not digging it, it's okay not finished. Sometimes it depends what season you're life in.
Sure.
So maybe I'll come back to it later. But it's like, life is too short. Goodreads does help me by tracking my reading, and that just helps me remember, oh yeah, that book that you started.
Yeah.
So I love Goodreads too, but you have permission to read multiple books at a time.
That whole season, thank you. Appreciate that. That whole season of life thing
slip.
is...
Here's your invisible permission slip.
Thank you.
Boom.
It's really good because like I just finished maybe about a couple months ago. I finished the second book in the Wheel of Time series, and the show on Amazon's fantastic, but the books are a commitment.
I've listened to the first,
and they're
book,
good.
And
they're great.
Yeah, but
they're
it's
great.
Huge commitment.
Robert Jordan did a fantastic job. Brandon Sanderson did a fantastic job on him, but like that took me a very long time to finish, and it took me seasons of putting it down and reading other books. But by the time I finished it, I was like, okay, I got to at least finish it so I can say I finished it. And then I finished it. I'm like, dang it, I want to read the next one.
I think the question is like, who are you trying to get to approve of you with your reading?
Don't ask me that question. This isn't a therapy session. Gosh.
But that it's true though. But I started thinking like, who am I trying to impress with my book reading?
Yeah.
I mean, because you can even feel that way on Goodreads, but it's like, no, don't feel that way. Like if it's meant.
That's good.
But I'll think about that. Like unless it's an assigned book for school or something like that. Like, who are you trying to impress?
That's a good question. So, anyway, I'm excited about, by the time this airs, we will have already done this, but I am super excited about playing in Central Oregon this week. We're playing 2 shows in Bend and Redmond this week, and I don't think we've done, we did one show in Redmond a couple years ago before the pandemic, but I'm just excited. I like that area. It looks really cool, and it's always fun to play like in a new town. So I'm excited about that.
Good.
All right. Excited. Yeah. The end.
Good.
No.
I wasn't trying to make fun of you. I was just listening to you.
That's okay. That's okay.
Listening to you.
Feeling my humanity. I don't know. I think I'm feeling, I guess in a good way, I'm feeling happy today.
What?
I know.
What?
I know. I wasn't feeling happy this morning, but I'm feeling good now. I usually take some quiet time in the morning to kind of dig myself out of whatever hole I might have found myself in the night. But I'm feeling really happy. I'm feeling almost joyful.
Almost joyful?
Yeah.
What if you put your hood on? Would that make you feel even more joyful?
Oh, it must be the 90s.
How cool.
By the way, speaking of nostalgia, the 90s, these were really popular back in the 90s, and they're coming back now. So maybe this is my happy shirt. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
You feel in your zen.
I just feel good. I feel good right now, and that's.
Well, I bought that for you.
I know.
So
that must be a combination of you and the 90s.
Maybe you should wear this to Bend.
Maybe I should.
It'll make it a little hot.
It'll make me far more pleasant in the car, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how I'm feeling my humanity right now. What about you?
Well, I'm reading a book called Humility by Andrew Murray, and he's been passed for some time. So it's just was made aware today about some areas that I am so prideful. And so that's how it's like good to be made aware of, but it's just hard to realize that you're prideful, and so it's good, but it's hard. So
yeah. So
sorry about that, dear.
It's okay. I'm sure if I read it, I'd feel the same way.
You know, what? I didn't say it.
Maybe in the comment section, what are the things that you are reading right now that are either bringing you life or you're just really enthralled? It could be a good book recommendation. It could be anything. Could be a comic book. In fact, I hope it is.
You love
So
those.
I do quite a bit. So this is going to be, this is part 2 of a 3-part kind of series we're doing on time. Last week we talked about nostalgia and the past. It was such a good time back then when we did that. Last week. It was such a good time. So now we get to talk about the present.
We actually filmed it right before this. We
So,
just
so
changed
20
our
minutes.
clothes.
So 20 minutes ago. So 20 minutes ago. And so much has happened since then.
So much.
But we get to talk about the present, about the season that we're in now. And so I was going to ask you, let's take that word being present, because that's a word that's used a lot. We talk about trying to be mindful, trying to be in the moment, because there's a lot of things that pull us out of that. What are things that help you stay in the moment? When do you find that kind of happens naturally for you?
It's very rare.
I didn't say that.
No, but it is very rare. Honestly, it's when I'm actually taking time, like I'm going to be present. Like it's almost like I have to intentionally do it. And even then, it's like my brain's just like scanning. So it's very hard for me to be present.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do better at when I'm listening to someone to listen to them and not be thinking about what I'm going to say next. So I'm working at that, and I feel like I'm doing better at when someone's talking to me, looking them in the eye and trying to listen to them.
That's something I learned when I did martial arts when I was younger. This is the past conversation. But
this is not martial arts.
No, it's not. At least not yet.
Show me a move. Show me a move really quick with your arm. You do something like this.
That's a new move.
But I'm asking you to show me what it is you do with your move.
Like crane neck, where you
No, there's like something
you do an elbow. You can do a chop. You can do a reverse ridge hand right there. And nobody was injured in filming this, and
I'm injured.
Savon, that was for you. It's my train of thought.
Sorry, you learned in martial arts.
Oh, about like one of the things it teaches you is respect.
Oh, okay.
And that idea of like always look into somebody's eyes when you're talking. That's something that I really learned, and I'm grateful because it's helped me out. It helps me pay attention. Blinking is encouraged, otherwise you feel like you're being stalked.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I think for me, feeling present is usually when we're playing a show or we're in a church service and everybody's with you. There's like a collective mutual energy in the room that makes you really savor being in the moment. What's funny though is that being in that place doesn't make me stay the same and say, okay, I better just stay doing the exact same thing or else I'll lose it. Usually it frees me to try other things, like frees me to bust out a cover song, or it frees me to sing a little bit more comfortably. So yeah, playing is usually when I sense it the most. I wish it was that case when I was in the woods. It usually isn't. Usually I'm thinking through, what do I need to do moving forward in the future whenever I go out. So yeah.
I feel that way when I go to the movie theater because I can't do anything else. Which is actually really hard for me to not.
I know. You can't bring a painting to a movie theater.
No, I can't bring anything.
She paints
to work
through
on.
everything.
Well,
everything.
I like to maximize my time. So but I'm going to the theater. Yeah, I can't bring my easel and I can't be on my phone. So I have to just focus on the movie that I'm watching. And so I can get antsy, but there you go.
Yeah. What takes you out of the moment?
Everything
else.
Worry about the past or fears about the future.
Yep.
And everything in between. So it's rare to just be like. So I'm really working on it. I'm really, really, really even trying to like deep breath and like okay, visualize almost like emotionally sinking down. Like, like when you're at the beach and like the sand and you like sink your feet into it with your toes. And so that's like how I'm emotionally trying to like sink in, like be present, like right now, be present.
Yeah, I think my answer is the same as yours. I usually am taken out of the present moment by anything. But usually there's something I'm anxious about, or there's something I'm afraid of, or honestly, and I love having time to myself. I love having downtime. I love
Scoot over.
I love being being in solitude. But what I find happens is the second I'm in those places, I don't know what to do, and I feel like I should do something. And so I get like paralyzed, which makes me want to escape the moment, and then I'll catch myself getting on my phone or, ping-ponging around different activities, and I don't feel present or rested at all. So it's just my brain, it just takes me out of the present moment. And I think it's important to say that being present and being in the present moment doesn't mean that you don't have the past included in that or the future included. It means that you're sitting in the tension of all of those things and being okay with it. Because I think we have to if I can just not think about the past, or if I can just not worry about the future, that doesn't really, you honestly just find yourself focusing on the past and the future when you do that. But being able to sit comfortably with all three of those as friends I think it's a lifelong journey, and it's a minute by minute thing.
And I think gratitude has a huge piece of it, is that no matter what stage of life you're in, there's always going to be something that needs fixing or addressing or isn't perfect. It's just the reality. But gratitude, which I really struggle with. I see that face. I see that. I know. I struggle. I am really good at whining. So gratitude makes acceptance of the present and kind of grace and forgiveness for the past and hope for the future. It's like gratitude really helps to okay, right now, here's where I'm at. This is what got me here.
Right.
That's kind of what our band, the Chasing Ebenezer, that's kind of what our show, our name is referring to, because Ebenezer stones, if you see them in our logo, it's a Hebrew word.
Means thus far God has brought us. And
so that idea of chasing Ebenezer, of pursuing gratitude, especially of the past things, so that when we're encountering struggle, we remember, oh, look how God brought me to here. Look at how maybe it wasn't perfect, the situation, but like we talked about last week, I made it through. I survived. I'm on the other side of this, and there's still hope. So
yeah, there's a lot of trust that has to be in play to be present.
It's true.
And I have trust issues. I realize that, and the more and more, and I have control issues, and I realize that. So I find that because when I feel out of control and when I don't feel trust, and everybody feels out of control for different reasons, that's usually when I either daydream. I think about this, I wish I could fall asleep and wake up and be in high school again, so I could do everything over and make so many different decisions. And I'm usually that's a sign that my mental health is taking some kind of a nosedive somewhere and needs to be addressed. But I think our whole culture struggles with being present because we're always trying to get to what's next. I mean, you go out in traffic here around 3:00 and you'll see how many people really struggle with being present in the moment. So, yeah, but why is it important for you? Why is it important for us to be fully in the present moment? Why is that important?
Well, this moment's all we have. Past is gone, and there's no guarantee of another moment. So this is what we have right now.
And so rather than trying to avoid it or control it, you rob yourself of being able to experience it.
And oftentimes too, I'm gonna butcher the quote. It's just gonna happen. One of the books that we both read, Hind's Feet on High Places. The main character, her name is Much Afraid. that the things on the screens of her imagination that she imagined like were much worse than things actually ever turned out to be. And that's so the case.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've had some trauma, but the vast majority of the fears that I have had never come true. Situations, if you just kind of let them sit for a few minutes, they tend to work out. So most of the things that we envision happening don't ever occur.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And to notice that even as it relates to creativity, noticing that the things that you have experienced and the things that you are experiencing now can work their way into your art. And so so it's almost like you have to be, what is that person that like sits down and like writes stuff down?
A scribe?
No, I'm just I don't know what you call it, but like an observer. To be an observer of your life, to pay attention to what's showing up, to document that and to be present. Because if you're not, then you miss a lot of things. Okay, so we had a church meeting a few weeks ago. This is an example. And we were all sitting, it was getting dark and we were talking, and all of a sudden we felt this whoosh. I mean, it was like this very heavy whoosh. And we turned around, there was an owl, like just sitting on the branches. And it's easy to like have like something kind of pass by you and not stop to pay attention to it. But everybody stopped and were very present in that moment because they all felt it and they all turned, and the owl graced us for a minute and then flew away. But it was a really cool moment. But it was like, we had to stop to actually pay attention to that. And so learning to be a person that pays attention to your life is a skill to like be cultivated, I think.
Well, I think what you said about the owl is it was really cool.
It was really cool.
Amazing, like to be in like Portland here and like just have how owls show up. We all stopped because that was something you like, oh my gosh.
Unique. Oh, okay, yeah.
Like what? But when things become like if an owl was showing up, if there were always owls showing up, we would probably grow less amazed by it. And so there's things that are amazing every moment of every day, but because they're normal to us, we're no longer pausing and giving thanks for them. Or, whoa. I mean, the fact that I turned on my faucet and got water. Whoa. I didn't have to walk down to a creek or a river and get water and make sure it was sanitized. I just turn on the water. That's a huge gift, but it's so normal to us that we don't even think about it. That's an obvious one. So the more and more we can be grateful for the amazing gift of being alive and the things that are maybe were future dreams of people who come before us. Like they never envisioned, So it's like things that we have now, they did not have 100 years ago. So I don't know. I think that being present to small gifts makes us more present. Oh no, this is cheesy. I don't even want to say it now. You know what I was going to say, don't you? It was really cheesy and stupid.
Presence is the present?
Presence to the presence.
Oh.
Maybe if we spell it with the P-A.
Wow.
I don't know. That would be presence.
Presence. Oh, honey, I love you so much.
There you go. That was a total cheese bomb.
Cheese bombs are good.
However, a great book on gratitude is 1,000 Gifts, and by Ann Voskamp, and just how her family had deep tragedy, and when she recorded 1,000 simple gifts, and how it very, very life-changing. So, yeah.
It's good.
There you go.
It's good.
There you go.
Well, and I think one of the things that we struggle with being content. Like our whole culture just struggles with being content. There's always a not enough kind of thing. And so I think something like that, what you're describing, is really important. I said this jokingly at a show, but it's this idea that we always want to be in the season that's coming next, or what we're not in. I mean, I remember being a kid and I couldn't wait to be an adult. I couldn't wait to be
Oh
an adult.
yeah, you know that Beach Boys song?
No, I don't know if you do either.
I do. I'm just trying to make sure I can the title versus the first lyrics.
Oh.
For copyright infringement, I have to be careful, but it's a song about wanting to be older.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
I just don't remember if that's the title or if that's the first line.
I don't remember what the song's called.
I had to be careful.
Yeah, good job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to save you from any copyright infringement.
I just cut you out. It's okay.
Just cut me out. Just put a big black bar across.
But I think that's something that we really struggle with. I think it's. That was cool. There's a bird.
It's a bird. Maybe
it's a bird.
Not an owl.
I don't think that was an owl. But we struggle with that. We struggle with, okay, because I was even thinking, oh, wow, this is so great. I can't wait for the summer was so hot. I can't wait for the rain. And now we're in the rain. And man, I wish it was sunny outside.
Sorry, I'm getting to the bottom of my lime water.
I'm sorry,
and it's rather taut.
So I think that being able to find the gift of where you're at right now is very important. So one of your prompts this week is to do what I would call an ordinary awesome list, or an awesome ordinary list. So where what is one thing that you experience every day, but you noticed it today, that you thought about it and you realized it was awesome. Just write it down, whatever it might be. That's one of my prompts.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
You got any?
Well, I think that doing any kind of just quiet time with nature sounds, or one of those nature screensavers, and just taking like some deep breaths, and really just, my therapist, who I only have to see twice a month now. Yay! She's awesome. I'd go to therapy pretty much almost every day, but it means I'm doing better with my PTSD. She has me do like this body scan thing where, especially if you're anxious, you kind of use the 5 senses. So what is something that you can, like 2 to 5 things or whatever, that right now, without any more movement, what can you see? What can you taste? What can you feel? What can you hear? What can you smell? As many as you can, because then that like brings you to this present moment. Because especially, apparently, since I'm not a therapist, but with PTSD, it's our brain we've experienced trauma in the past, and something's triggering. It's just all that messiness in there. But by being present, you're connecting your body and your mind to, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm right here, I'm not in that thing in the past. So that's been really helpful, and that can be a really cool like art type of prompt as well to create stuff. And you can flail your arms about me.
It's highly encouraged.
I'm my mother's daughter. The arm flailing.
I'm amazed you haven't. I'm amazed you haven't hit me in the show
more than I do.
More than you do. And the other thing I'm amazed by, because when we play shows together, sometimes we're having to be close. The fact that violin bow has not poked out my eye amazes me. We played a gig last Friday on a very small stage with all 6 of our band members. And it was super fun. We were in costumes. Thank you, Al's Den, for having us. But there was a moment where I was worried I was going to go blind in one eye.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's just funny.
I have a hard time being still. Is that not obvious to all of you? I know. Poor Ben is like...
No. It's fine. Well, the song that we're going to do, because right now, presently, we're in my favorite season of life, which is autumn, September, October, and November. And so I released a demo to our patrons last month called Autumn as an instrumental demo. And so for the song, we're going to do the music video of that. So maybe you should sit down and take a few deep breaths, be present, listen and watch the video, and start making your ordinary awesome list. All right. Well, we will see you with our next episode about the future. Bye.